stress really comes in really when we're focused on the past or the future, and we're thinking about what went wrong in the past, or we're thinking about what might happen in the future. But when we're in the moment, when we're lost in what we're doing, there's no stress. It's essentially we're adapting to whatever we're being met with. So I think a wonderful analogy as well to use to not be as stressed about what we might see as problems is to realize that we don't necessarily have to see things as problems to adapt to them. It's a bit like when we're driving a car on the road. The lines on the road will show us how to navigate, but we don't have to agonize over them. We don't have to beat ourselves up about them. We don't have to fight them or resist them. We can just steer our car. And it's like that with any challenge that we're met. We can be met with a challenge. When we fight reality, when we resist it, we're fighting reality, and we're just affecting ourselves internally. And in the moment, we can just steer the car. We can just see, okay, what are my priorities now? Reprioritize, and then focus on what we need to do now and plan for the rest. Or else, if it's not that urgent or important, we can either delegate it or let it go from our schedule. So it's simply about adapting and not necessarily wrestling or fighting with reality, resisting it, and doing our best in the moment, and using our strengths and welcoming challenges as well is huge. We find when we reframe stress and see stress as not necessarily bad for us, we're protected even more than if we have low levels of stress. So the simple shift that stress isn't bad for us helps us to live longer than even having low levels of stress. So how could that possibly be? It's when we don't believe stress is bad for us, our blood vessels remain relaxed, and we release oxytocin instead of cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone, and oxytocin is good for all of our systems, and it helps us to perform at our optimum. Oxytocin is what's released when we hug someone. It's called the cuddle hormone. So it's that kind of, it gives you that kind of fuzzy feeling. So all we have to do, we simply don't believe stress is bad for us. Our heart might still be racing, but we can reframe that as excitement and not fear, priming us to perform at our optimum. And we can reframe it as a welcome challenge and not a threat, because we know that through every challenge, we can be far more capable down the line. We're far better off having challenges than we would have been. We'll have added resilience and added learning, even if it doesn't go the way we would want. So to reframe stress is really powerful, and that's completely overlooked. There's so much research into if you reframe stress, you perform even better than if you had no stress. And we're shown so many times of how to reduce stress, and of course that's really important. But the fact that reframing it is even more powerful than reducing it shows where we should spend most of our time. We can do breathing exercises on top of that, and that's a really nice thing to do, and it's powerful, of course. But reframing stress, I think, is what we should be helping people to do in addition to that. And I used to touch off burnout so often in my life, and two things I shifted were reframing stress, and because I was always looking after my well-being up until that point. And the other thing I shifted was to check in with your body. We can oftentimes just live in our heads, and we're just completely cut off from our bodies. But if you check into your body, and there's so much wisdom there, and ask your body, what is my body telling me now? Ask intuitively, what is my body telling me, or what has it been trying to tell me lately? Because if you don't listen to it when it whispers, you'll have to listen to it when it screams. And the answer, it might be so simple. It might be just simply that I need rest, or I need additional sleep, or I should exercise more. And we just listen to it and we do what it tells us. We don't, not without judgment. We don't need to judge ourselves again or beat ourselves up to take positive steps forward. This is simply about learning and adapting. And it's a wonderful space to be in. We just get into flow. And it's a kind way to treat ourselves. And so all of that combined really is a recipe for well-being. And then obviously then identifying your values and honoring those is key as well.